It's time for the Administrative and Legal Committee meeting. Do we need a roll call? Roll call, please. Commissioner,
Trustee Mangan?
Trustee Mangan,
Trustee Berg, present.
Present.
Trustee Panito, present. Do I have a motion to consider approval of the minutes of the Special Administration and Legal Committee meeting held on September 19th, 2017?
So moved?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is to receive an update on the compensation and benefits study. I'd note that Mike and I met with staff the other day and received a very nice presentation. If you'd like to address this again.
Sure, yeah, thanks, Trustee Panino. Yeah, so this is a follow-up. If you remember right, the board heard an initial presentation from the consultants several months ago. And so we've kind of analyzed some of the data and are ready to make some initial recommendations. And this kind of summarizes what our recommendations are as well as where we're at. So I think everybody knows Sam Brunel, who's been working with us from GovTemps for the last few months. So.
What a way to begin.
And what an intro, Sam. Right?
Yeah. All right. Well, just to go over a brief history of this project, the village's current pay structure has been in place now since 2006. There have been several adjustments made to the three pre-existing structures, a management pay plan, a non-management pay plan, and a part-time employee ordinance. Since that time, the village decided that it was time to update our pay plan and to become more competitive in the marketplace, and went out to bid and ended up contracting with PayPoint HR to complete a compensation and benefits study. Raw data was collected beginning last October, and since then staff has been reviewing a lot of the raw data and doing some validation, doing some analysis, looking at the market, looking at different positions, and trying to figure out where they should be plotted on a new pay plan as proposed by PayPoint. So the key deliverables from PayPoint HR, they provided us with a single, equitable, simple pay structure. They provided us with some updated job descriptions based on the job analysis questionnaire that they sent out for employees to complete online. They provided us with some administration and just general basic managing the pay plan guidelines, which are very useful for us in terms of ensuring that we do stay up to date with our pay plan and don't fall behind in the market. And it also outlines ways to deal with different pay issues, such as transferring, staff transfers, acting up pay, promotions. In addition to, they will be coming out to do train the trainer sessions with management staff as soon as we finalize the pay plan, to go over just so management is familiar with the pay plan, how it works now, and can sit with the employees and explain why they are placed on this new pay plan, where they're placed. And then they did a review of our merit pay and benefit system and provided us with some recommendations, which we will continue to look further into as we move forward with this project. So a side-by-side comparison of our current versus our proposed pay plan. Well, like I said before, our current pay plan is actually 3 pay plans: the management, non-management, and part-time salary ordinance. On the proposed pay plan, it's a single pay plan that encompasses all positions, which eliminates the need for the salary ordinance. It also eliminates some unused positions that we've had, or updating job titles that are no longer in use but are still listed on our current pay plan. Our new pay plan will have 15 steps, which are listed as A through O, as opposed to our current pay plan, which has 8 steps with 2 additional merit steps, which can cause pay compression issues, especially as we have several employees that are at the max of their range on our current pay plan, whereas the new pay plan has a 60% spread, which allows more room for growth. And we're recommending that steps N and O be considered merit steps that are, that require you to meet more stringent criteria in order to get to that step. So it's not just a, simple, satisfactory performance evaluation that will get you to that step N or to that step O. You really need to go above and beyond. And again, the equity issue. The current pay plans, the salary spreads range from 30% to 80%, whereas the new pay plan, it's a 60% spread. So it's equitable for everyone. Everyone has the same maximum earning potential in terms of their range. So right now, we're looking short-term at two phases for our implementation. Phase 1, which is what we're recommending tonight, is to provide all non-bargain employees with a 2.5% market wage adjustment, retroactive to May 1st, 2017, based on their current hourly rate. We came up with a 2.5% figure based on, first off, what the other unions, our police union and our public works union, what they received this year, in addition to going and reaching out to several of our comparable communities. I think we got responses from about 15 different communities to see what they were providing their employees this year, and it did average out to be approximately 2.5%. The estimated cost to the village for the retroactive pay will be about $375,000, which was already budgeted for this fiscal year. And we would like to implement that as soon as it gains village board approval. The next step is we will implement the new pay plan, which we came across some new variables after talking to key staff and the various departments like the finance department to further delve into how we're going to smoothly implement this. And some new variables have come about that we want to look into further. So we will be coming to you shortly with a new recommendation as to how to best implement and get people transitioned from their current pay plan to the new pay plan. Moving forward, we have to do a further analysis of the part-time positions on the salary ordinance. This includes firefighters, crossing guards, commission secretaries, auxiliary police officers. There was not a lot of pre-existing data when PayPoint went out, so we're trying to do more of a comparison. Plus, with the firefighters, it's a little more comprehensive, especially because we're very unique in terms of our fire department. We will also be working on a communication plan for staff, which will include supervisor training and an appeals process for employees. So if an employee feels that they should be at a different pay grade than what we've plotted them at, they will have ample opportunity to provide us with an argument as to why that should be changed. We will implement the pay plan and their transition adjustment hopefully by May 1, 2018, if not sooner. And we will continue reviewing and revising the village's benefits and merit plan based on PayPoint's recommendations. And to go along with that is looking at the village's current performance evaluation process and tools. And then development of a village-wide succession plan, which goes hand in hand with being competitive in the market, but then it also is important because it shows that we're investing in our employees, and that's really important with this new pay plan, is we really want our employees to feel valued. Any questions?
I just want to make a couple comments. Number one, I thought you did a great job with it. The whole staff, Denise, you, everyone that was involved. So I really think that there's some important elements of this that I think is going forward are going to be make it a lot better. Number one, I think just the way the structure's set up is really good. The fact that, people that are in certain positions will understand what pay grade they're at. It'll be one pay plan. I think being able to administer that makes it a lot easier.
Yes.
For you guys, which I think is critical. But I think the other part of it is the two things you said at the end I think are just as critical. The fact that, how we evaluate people will be very important to this element. And then the fact that the succession plan is really going to start to be established at a level that I think we need. I mean, the key element here is we have a lot of positions within the village that if someone left tomorrow, we want to make sure we have someone that can fill in at a level that's pretty close or at the same level that they are today. So I want to commend staff on this. I thought you guys did a great job. I think it really puts us in a better position than we were. I know you've taken a lot of time to go through this, just by sitting with you and listening to the comments that you made to us. You have gone through each pay grade and make sure that they really met the criteria for the job description that we really wanted to make happen. So I know there's still some more work that has to go on with that, but the good thing about it is we do have some timelines here that we can hit and kind of hold to, and I think you should be commended on it. Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sam has done a tremendous amount of work, and really both Sam and Denise, and I want to thank them. And I think, I think after our discussions with all of you, I think breaking this into two phases, because I think we want to be able to really address, I think, the evaluation, the merit portion of the plan. We know there are some people that are under the market, and we didn't want to come back. One of the recommendations was a consultant. Well, is you could just make an automatic adjustment of people up to the market. That's not what we want to do. We somehow need to come up with a system where increases like that there's a larger merit component to it. And again, I think this new plan, the idea that we come up with the higher steps, also being tied into not just you got a good performance evaluation, but you did something extraordinary. And this will give us some time to kind of really flush it out. Because I know that was at the beginning, Trustee Panino and others were like, we need to make sure that whatever's in a new plan, that there needs to be a stronger merit component. And so we're going to come back to all that with you, obviously, well before May 1st. But
Thank you, Sam and Denise. Also, the job descriptions, how many of those will be changing?
It's not necessarily that they'll be changing. A lot of them, right now we're looking at reformatting because we have some, different HR people have there's just different styles. It's getting a standard format, and the job descriptions that PayPoint provided us with, they were based off of the job analysis questionnaire that employees filled out. And I can tell you that by looking at what we currently have as a job description and what PayPoint provided us with, there are very few differences. So really it's just making sure that, certifications, the names of certifications always change over time. And, positions that formerly didn't require certifications that now require certifications, or you're finding that, maybe it takes a master's degree to do one job as opposed to the other. So every single job description is going to be updated.
Thank you. Will there be a side-by-side comparison to what the old salary is for some individuals compared to the new one at any point?
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's it.
I also wanted to thank you on all the effort that you put in. It's clear that you've been working very hard, and what's also become clear is that this is going to be a very difficult process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, especially since with a long time step and grade compensation system, we're trying to get new jobs into sync with the current market. We're also trying to create jobs that never existed before, like our IT director. In addition to that, this merit performance component is going to be tricky. It's going to take some time. And I appreciate the effort that you're putting into this. And obviously, with that said, we need to move on to one of the recommendations that you made about recognizing the current employees who their raises were budgeted last year for this May. We've been delaying that in hopes that we would get this pay plan done and try to put all these components together. However, I don't think that's going to happen in the near term, and I don't think that it's really fair when the police department got their 2.75% raise, Public Works got their 2.5% raise, and surrounding communities have got raises to keep staff waiting.
Well, I think the key element is what we have today, I think, has taken us into the
great
next
start.
step of this. So
Yep.
I think we got the best of both worlds here from the standpoint of, we really did get to a level to really take it to where we wanted it to. So I'll make a motion to recommend to the board the 2.5% raise.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I just want to note that we do have a list of the raises over the past several years. There were several years that there was 0 raise, a couple of years where there was 1. We also have a list of raises in the surrounding communities. This is right around average.
I think that's it.
Okay. So
We can close up.
roll call, please, or all in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to close the?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Oh, public comment. Forgot about
I
mine.
am so sorry. I am so sorry. Do I have a motion to open the floor for public comment? So moved.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Trustee Pinito. I did want to echo what was said about the succession plan. I think that was my favorite part of that presentation just now, because I think that's something I've addressed in the past. That in my, I would say we're going about 18 months of going to these meetings, there were certainly a lot of consultants that had to be hired to go look for people. So having a succession plan in place, I think, is going to save the village some money. What I do think that it would have been nice, and I know this came after, I think this consultancy was pursued, was the recent change of the residency and how that's going to affect potentially, incoming employees, hopefully getting with a larger pool, that hopefully we can get maybe a little bit less that we have to pay them in the beginning. But, I'm pretty sure that was outside the scope, because obviously they didn't know about it at the time, because it didn't pass until very recently. It was just something that would be nice if it was acknowledged, but obviously it came late. I just think that was a big plus, and possibly maybe saving the village, at least in the beginning, and making it a little bit easier to find employees. So, just my 2 cents on that one. Otherwise, I actually enjoyed that presentation. Nice job, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
I had a question on, when I reviewed the study that the consultants put out, some positions were overpaid. And I'm just curious, I understand we want to get moving and people deserve their raises, but in my company, in a position, you're only going to be able to make so much. So unless you grow and move into a different position, you will not get increases. That's just the way it is. Are we just going to give everybody 2.5%, regardless, even the people that they're saying, if the job descriptions are pretty spot on, from what she said in her presentation, we're still going to go ahead and give them an increase, even though they're already over what the consultant said they should be?
So basically, there's 2 ways people get paid. They get paid through the market adjustment, which basically just kind of keeps us competitive with other towns. The other way is through step increases that people get as they have, time in the job and satisfactory evaluations. So we're going to be coming back to the board with some recommendations along that, but that's, if there's positions that are overpaid or basically above the market, that's how you can kind of control that. We didn't want a situation where we were rolling people's salaries back, but you can control essentially, the steps that they're getting in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And
So even though, even now you already, we know that they're over market, we're going to still give them that increase, even though they may even be higher over the market at that point.
Well-
When I look at the amount we pay our employees in our village,
Mhm.
compared to what is in the private market, and it'd be interesting now to see these
Right.
job descriptions, because I'd like to
Right.
see what actually they do, because the pay is really good here for these jobs compared to what we're getting paid, to be honest, with
Yeah.
pensions and all the others on top of it. It's a very good good paying jobs.
Well, I mean, and it's a fair comment. What I would say is, I mean, just statistically, you know, based on what we found and what we asked the consultant to look at in the final study was where would we be at if we wanted to pay our employees, say, at a slightly above average level, say around the 60th percentile, compared to our competition. And the answer is there's a fair amount of people below, a fair amount of people in the middle, and some above. So I wouldn't characterize, I mean, if it's just statistically, I mean, we're probably about where we should be at. It's just there's some positions that are below and some that are above.
Exactly.
And so,
And Diane, one
Yeah, go
thing
ahead.
to that, Diane, I think that's where the step two, where you can start to evaluate on the step two
Yeah.
part of this, that we're really, I think the staff is gonna be working on the next level, that really all those positions will be at certain levels, and then there will be some levels that people have hit the max, and that we have to make decisions on
Yeah.
how we're gonna pay them going forward. Could it be a merit raise if they had every single goal that they were supposed to achieve, they blew past it huge, then we might have something that we could have tied in there. That's why we didn't want to come to this meeting with recommendations of that level right now, because we really think that really staff has to kind of look at it and come back to us with some of the ideas that they think we would need to do, and that's why we put the May date in there. So I think when we come back to the next stepping stone, it'll be a nice process that they've laid into one plan. The problem we had here, I think, is we had so many different plans. And you have the police plan, you have the public works plan, and then you have the non-union plan. I think that put us all in the same category from this, except for the union piece, I think just puts us in a better position. So I think we can be more thorough to the questions that you're asking as we get from now till probably sometime in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I think that's what
Yeah,
we're
my
at.
only concern was just giving
And
another
and
increase
we-
to
and
people that are
we
already
do.
being overpaid based
Yeah.
on, you know, we spend all this money with consultants.
And I-
We should start using these
But
results.
I'd like a chance to answer that. There are some people right now who are overcompensated for the market. There are some people who are undercompensated for the market. The fact of the matter is, it's going to take time to correct that.
Oh, and I understand, and I understand the people who are below
Right.
market, absolutely, go ahead, but I just confused why we would go ahead and give another 2.5% to people who are already over market.
But
Right.
generally
That's
speaking,
the opposite
Right.
side of that, Diane, that I
All
want you
these
to
people
understand, the
got
people that are
raises.
below market. I'm sorry, Mike.
no, all
The
these
peop-
people, sorry, I just want to, all these people got raises pretty much every May 1st, and they were expecting 2.5% on May 1st, and they didn't get it, and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting to
Oh,
get
because
those.
2.5% was to promise them.
Basically, they
Okay, well, that's
believe that
different
would
if
be
they were
coming, and they've
promised
been
that.
waiting, and it's going to take some time to get those numbers right, and some of this 2.5% may be, some people won't.
Well, if they were promised, yeah, if employees were promised 2.5%, then of course you have to come through.
It
I'm
was-
just saying,
it was
it doesn't make
budgeted,
sense to me to give
was
it
expected.
extra.
I don't want
people
them
who are
to
already
have to wait
overpaid.
forever, is kind of where we're looking at now. Would you agree, Mike, or is that?
Yeah, and the other part I wanted to say is the people that are way below, because I get where you're saying that there's certain positions that are at the top, but we do have a lot of positions that aren't at the levels that they need to be to
Mm-hmm.
market. We can't just take those from where they're at to market right away either.
Sure.
Because that's a financial
And I get the
impact to the
2.5% for
town. So
them.
we have to, I said, correlate the two together and
Mm-hmm.
take time to get everyone to all the different levels that they need to be at. And I think that's what we're going to try to accomplish between now and May.
Sure, yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Thanks. We good?
Yes, very. Anybody else have anything they wish to say? With that, do I have a motion to
The
adjourn?
consulting thing is a different year fiscal. This is on the board.
So moved. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
So moved, second.
All in
Aye.
favor, aye.
Okay, I'd like to open up the Finance Committee, 6:27. First thing on the agenda is to consider the approval of the minutes of the special Finance Committee meeting held on August 22nd, 2017.
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Brad, would you like to discuss the August 2017 monthly report?
Sure.
You've received the August monthly report, which includes a memo covering some highlights for the month of August. During the month of August, sales taxes were received for May's activity. For the month, we received about $1.25 million. And year to date, we were at shy of $4.5 million. That is up 10% for the month compared to the same period of the prior year, and 4% up year to date. The home rule sales tax is tracking somewhat similarly, and was just shy of $500,000 for the month and $1.7 million year to date, fiscal year to date, 6% up for the month and nearly 3% up year to date. Again, the home rule sales tax does not apply to titled goods and most grocery items, so it doesn't necessarily track parallel to the regular sales tax, but there is some rule of thumb relationship that runs about 40% of the regular sales tax. So the numbers are up, which is reflecting a good strong economy, and are tracking with what we anticipated in the budget. So that's all good news. Use tax, which is also a related sales tax that is collected from merchandise purchased out of state but used within the state. We had seen for some time significant increases in those amounts, primarily due to the fact that Amazon started collecting, because they had now established an Illinois presence, had started collecting Illinois sales tax on a lot of their sales. So it was nearly $110,000 we received for the month, which was up about 1%, and we are at about $443,000 year to date, which is up 2.7% comparatively to the prior year. Income tax continues to be a little wobbly. We received $248,000 for the month of August, which was actually for taxes collected in July, which was down 19% compared to the same time last year. And year to date, we received $1.9 million compared to $2 million last year, which was down 3%.
Hey,
Property
Brett,
taxes.
And that one, is that just the payment, or is it the collections, or the collections done?
We get
Or is it the
a
state?
share of the sales,
Right.
of the income tax that the state collects, and that's
Right.
including what's withheld out of your
Like
paycheck.
that legislative distributive?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's been a little flaky this
Is
year.
it, they're not collecting as much, or they're just not paying as much?
There's a number of factors, and I don't know that I have a clear answer to give you there. But it started with the Department of Revenue implementing a new accounting system where I think that there may have in fact been some errors in how they were distributing things in the past that corrected with the new system. But like I say,
19% is a pretty big spread.
yeah, but again, we're only looking at, and you know, it's based on what the state collects during the month from income tax withholding, paychecks, from people filing income tax returns, their quarterly estimates, and so on and so forth. And July is an off month, and that's why the numbers are very small. And so a shift in those numbers can really kind of skew things. A small shift in the dollars, like we're looking at, $58,000 difference between this year's number and the year ago's number. Not a huge variance, but because it's a small number, the percentage gets out of skew.
Thank you.
Sure. Property taxes, August is basically primarily collections coming in from Will County. The Cook County collections basically were completed. The due dates for Cook County were March 1st and August 1st. And Will County's bills were due May 1st and September 1st, so you got a little bit of a mix of collections, but everything is really running on track to expectations. Video gaming, again, continues to reflect increases. $28,700 received for the month of July, compared to $18,000 a year ago at the same time, which is a 56% increase. But part of that, again, is because this is an area where additional businesses are being, and terminals are being added all the time. Through fiscal year to date, 113,000 received this year compared to 75,000 last year, roughly 38,000 up, or 50% up from a year ago. There are currently 27 licensed for the month. In the month of August, there were 27 licensed establishments with 126 gaming devices. There were 2 applicants who had received their state licensing, but yet were not operating, had not obtained their Tinley license, and were not implemented, had not turned on their machines yet in this reporting period. And one applicant was pending. The one applicant that was pending at the time of this report has now been approved by the state gaming board, and there is now one new pending applicant, which is for the second Stella's location that had been previously approved. Motor fuel tax is actually at the moment showing some positive direction, and it in the past has been a little wonky. $131,000 received for the month of received in August for the month of July's taxes, compared to $129,000 the prior year. It was up about 1%, and $481,000 year to date compared to $468,000 for the prior year is up about 2.8%. And the next section of the report includes some graphical depictions of the revenues as we just discussed, reflecting the ups and downs of those key revenue streams, as well as looking at the general fund, water sewer fund, parking lot fund, and the hotel tax fund, comparative revenues to expenses. And the main point I'm looking at that chart is that the spread between the revenues and expenses has remained fairly constant or has improved in the current fiscal year compared to the prior, which is all good news. The next part of the report includes a number of trend line graphs of different revenues, and all of those continue to follow the expected trends. I won't go well on any of those, and then the rest of it is further detail of our revenues and expenses for your pleasure at your leisure. If you got any questions on them at any time, please don't hesitate to ask. And the final 2 items in the report is a summary of the monies that we have collected via impact fees for new construction building permits since inception for the current fiscal year to date, and also cumulatively. And we have, as of the end of August, collected over $21.5 million for other governmental entities that share boundaries with the Village of Tinley Park. That includes park districts, school districts, and the library. And the last page in the report is a status on what the state owes us for rents and other things. And that is, there's still some outstanding utility bills and rent, and the normal 1-month delay in income tax distribution. So it's nothing extraordinary there either. And
that does it.
Report.
Okay, Brad, thanks for going over it. Just a couple updates. We're starting, as we know, a couple months ago, we agreed to do a fraud assessment. That is going to start in October. So that will start at the beginning of October and probably last about a month, maybe a month and a week. So we'll have some updates on that probably sometime in November. And then Brad has the audit. It's been going on for a long period of time, and they're in the final phase of that. So a lot going on in the finance department right
They
now.
finished the field work, but they're still wrapping up the reporting aspect.
Okay, great. And so we'll give you an update on that as soon as that finishes up. That's it for that. Any public comments?
First of all, I was pleasantly pleased with the video gaming numbers, which I've now pulled back up, and actually, now that you've tipped us off to us, Treasurer Bettenhausen, excellent work. I mean, first of all, people at Tinley Park to be commended with all this gambling. Our revenues are up 56.6% on the month and 50.7% for the year, so keep spinning, Tinley Park. Thicken that revenue stream. Now, before I forget, happy birthday to you, Lucas, wherever you're at with your family. I miss you. And to my brother who just deployed with the Illinois National Guard to Kuwait. I'm thinking about you. Safe return next year. Can't wait to see you again. I was planning to actually read from the meeting that was canceled that was supposed to be right after this one, with all the whereases and the inducement agreement. I'm now going to have to either FOIA it or grab it from the clerk somewhere, because now I just realized that it's at least not off from the public notices, and I wasn't able to pull it up in time. I'm a little bit curious as to why it was canceled, because at first I thought like maybe we weren't going to make quorum.
I can tell you, Mike.
Thank you.
So the game plan is, when we come out with what we want to do in the downtown area with South Street and that, we want to do it all at one time.
Okay.
So that we're giving you the full story and the full piece all together. I think it's important that we give all the trustees the opportunity to be able to go through what we're planning and what we're trying to do. There's a lot with this project. It's a big project. So there's opportunity. The inducement piece is one piece of it.
Sure.
And
I'm sure there's more
Then
than.
as you know, it's the TIF is another piece of it. And we want to have some time to be able to have maybe some quorums with some of the people from the village to talk through the TIF so that everyone understands the TIF and the big picture.
I would appreciate that.
Because I think it's really critical that we understand what the purpose of this TIF is. And I know people view it from one aspect. We have to view it from the big picture. So I think that's an important element of it. So we think over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we want to kind of lay it all out. And then when we bring it in, any questions you have, we can come to those questions and tie it in.
Absolutely.
I think it's important that we put it in a forum together to make sure that everyone's on the same page as far as what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I really
So
did
that was
just
the
want
main
to.
reason why it was canceled.
No, I appreciate it. I really appreciate the explanation, because I honestly didn't know. I certainly wanted to start a discussion on it at least. And obviously I've put my views both here at the podium in the past, and recently I put a couple posts up on Sunday. But if there, I'm open to debate, and I do look forward to you guys presenting the whole picture like you're saying. I would like to point out for the record, though, that this project also has already been the benefit of a considerable TIF consideration in Freedom Pond, which they are a primary benefit of, and that cost $5.2 million of TIF funds already. I just wanted to put that on the record, that is ongoing and is something. So I think we'll probably discuss that further
And I think
in a
we do
couple
need
of
to
weeks or
discuss
so.
it, because I think we need to discuss, from a bigger picture, I would say to look at the future of Tinley and what we're trying to accomplish. Because, I'm not arguing that part of your view isn't right, but I think it would be important to talk about it. And
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy if you want to sit down and talk.
No,
talk about it.
and I even saw some interesting, points of view, and I can see it from. And first of all, I want to state for the record, I'm not anti-development. As you recall, I put my TIF considerations to the side for banging gavel. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, hey, this is an important thing. We're preserving a good piece of local architecture. It's a great business. It's going to bring people downtown. You know what I mean? If I think that it's an overwhelming positive, which I think banging gavel is, I can probably put some of my TIF considerations to the side. But I think you'll probably have to make a pretty compelling argument, which I look forward to. So thank you so much for that explanation. I look, again, forward over the next couple of weeks to seeing that.
Thanks.
I just wanted to ask Brad on this hotel. There's, everything I'm hearing of how we make a lot of money is because we fill our hotels. We don't make anything off the convention center because we fill our hotels. when I look at what we're making on the hotels, I guess I thought there was more. And then one of your sheets says thousands and one says millions for water. I'm not sure which is correct, but what is the expenses on the hotel? What expenses do we pay? Because it looks like, 601,000 we're bringing in, but we have 415 in expenses.
Well, the hotel tax fund supports a portion of the hotel tax, basically 1%. We have a 6% hotel tax that's in place, that's 6% of the room charge. 1% of that goes to support the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and 2% of that goes to support debt service in relation to the convention center and other things related to that. So you've got, of the remaining 3%, most of that is going to support our marketing efforts with the village.
Marketing of,
Branding,
of the
marketing.
village and
The Main Street or which one?
oh, that goes in under hotel tax expense? Is that,
and it supports some of our downtown
Like
activities.
some of the downtown special events.
Special events.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Which falls under the marketing area.
Right.
that goes
Based on
under
today,
hotel tax?
based on how we
That's
do
on-
it today, right?
Right.
Because, I mean, there's some talk of, with the video gaming and things like that. I mean, that's one of the things that,
Video gaming has been earmarked towards supporting the downtown areas.
Right.
Primarily, and right now, primarily is being set aside for the downtown plaza.
right.
So marketing doesn't go under general fund?
It
That
is
goes
under the general fund. We take and make a transfer out of the hotel tax into the general fund to cover those expenses.
Okay, gotcha. And then on the water and sewer, is it thousands or millions what this is? Because one says 8.7 thousands, one says millions.
While you're,
Because my question next is,
Mark-
what is driving that such a large increase for next year? Because I believe we had a lot of extra money in those funds that we transferred out.
we do not have a lot of extra money in the water and sewer fund.
But last year, didn't you guys do something to transfer money out of that?
We probably did transfer some money out of the operating fund into the capital reserve funds, but we didn't.
No, but it was out of water and sewer, because I was questioning, why I pay so much for water. When I get a $600 bill, then I wonder if we have all this money left over and we're transferring out of this fund. Seems odd to me. Just like,
But
did we
again-
do a
again,
good job
when you're-
budgeting,
yes.
or?
And when you're looking at the bar charts, you have to look at your scale, and the one that is referencing thousands has an extra digit, whereas the one that's referencing millions, but you're still referencing the same length of dollars in the bar. It's your scale.
Okay. So is it 8.7?
It's $8.7 million if you're
Million.
looking at that schedule.
Okay, gotcha. And then what is driving the water? Why is it going up so much for next year then?
I'm sorry, not going up for next year.
The revenue.
These are comparing the current year-to-date results compared to the prior year
Prior year.
results.
Okay, so the one that says full year 2018, that's this year?
That's fiscal year 2018, year-to-date.
current.
From May through August
May through August of what we're in now?
Right.
of the current fiscal year.
May through, when it
Our
ends?
fiscal year starts May 1st and runs
May
through April
2018,
30th
the next one
of
ends.
the following year.
So when you see 18, that's what we're dealing with right now.
So
Thank you.
2018 is our current fiscal year.
Okay, got it.
And then what you
Thank
see before that's prior, the last 12 months, right? Right?
Thank you.
Is that the last 12 months?
It's not 12 months, it's only.
So it's
again,
tying, it's tying to
only
the same as last year.
a comparable period.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
12 months.
I apologize on that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We good? Okay, can I have,
Do I have a motion to?
Adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming out.